Hello YouTube, I am back with another modification video on the Furibee F36, and this time we are going to be changing these props from 4-bladed props to these 2-bladed props. And so you know, again, these are 31 millimeter props by 0.8 millimeter shaft. So if you order the 2-bladed props, you make sure they're 31 millimeter with a 0.8 millimeter shaft. Hole size. Okay, so we're going to put some red ones on here. Now, to take these props off, it's a little tricky to get them off there without messing anything up. But what you need to do is take your thumb and just kind of give it a little wedge here on the motor. You just got to kind of get your thumbnail on there, or if you can get a small screwdriver, you can use like a small precision screwdriver and stick it up under there. Just be careful not to hit the wires, and you can pry it and use a gradually larger and larger screwdriver to pry it out. And let me grab my precision screwdrivers here for a second. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. You'll use a flat screwdriver, and I started on this one over here. Okay, you'll take the flat screwdriver, you'll just get it up in there, because there is a little bit of space. You can see there's a little bit of space there, so you can get the flat screwdriver up in there. Just kind of give it a little prying, and just try not to hit your wires. And once you get it up a little bit, you just get a slightly bigger screwdriver, and try not to hit your wires again. Give it a little bit more of a pry, and then you should be able to get underneath those wires. At that point, you can see them. I don't know if you can see them there, just kind of hanging down, but you definitely do not want to hit your wires. So then you would pry it this direction. Now you can do it with your thumbnail, but there is a likelihood that you would end up pushing it too far, and sometimes these things are in there pretty tight, and you got to keep your fingers away from the props, and you got to get the prop to where it clears. The prop and the motor, where the prop meets, just clears the port here, the air duct. So I'm trying to get that just a little bit more, and that's what we want to do, is get it just over the top there. Okay, now what you can do is you can take a thick pocket knife or even a flat screwdriver. You can get up under there and you can pry that off, but I'll have to show you the trick to this without messing up your motors or anything. So I'm going to use this screwdriver here, and it is small enough to get up underneath this. Sometimes you'll have to start with a pocket knife, but you want to get the screwdriver right up under there next to the shaft. You want to gently, you got to hold on to the prop like this so you don't bend your shaft. You want to gently just push that through to make the propeller just lift off. And there it goes. See, it just lifted right off. And now you can just pull the prop right off. And it's still being a little stubborn there. Okay. You want to hold on to your motor when you're doing that, because if it is still stuck on there, it could end up pulling the motor out all the way, and you could end up breaking your wires. So there's one prop off. And this one is a clockwise prop. You can see the pitch direction. So we need a clockwise prop over here. And here's a clockwise prop. And then you just get your new prop on there, push it down, let your motor slide down, make sure your wires are not getting pinched, and hold it from both sides and gently give it a push, a squeeze there. And then you want to blow on it to make sure it moves freely, like that. So it does move freely, and it is all the way down. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these. Oh, sorry about that with the camera. I moved and ended up kicking the stand here. But now let me get the rest of these off of here. I'll just show you one more. I'm going to get that pushed up with my thumbnail. I've done this a few times already. Get the screwdriver up under there alongside the shaft. Hold the prop here so you don't end up pushing your motor shaft over. And just gently push that through. And that one should come off. Put my finger underneath there on the motor. If you have to, you can use a thicker screwdriver. Like this one, I'm not trusting it, so I'm going to use a thicker screwdriver. Push that the rest of the way, and there we go. Since I don't have a knife that's thick enough to make that distance, that's quite a bit of distance there. Since I don't have a knife thick enough to do that, I am using progressively larger screwdrivers. So this is a counterclockwise prop. We're going to put that one on there. And just push it down and give it a little squeeze gently until it's all the way down. Blow on it to make sure it's moving freely. And there you go. There's two of them done. And I'll just get the rest of these on here and we'll speed up this video for this part. Okay, so now you just got to make sure your wires are tucked where they're supposed to be. And now you got all four props on. And you should have counterclockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, and clockwise. So now we can do a test on this to see battery life with the two-bladed props, because now there's a lot less load on the motors. And we'll see what the performance is like with it as well. So, be right back with that part. I'll have to get back up to the living room with some batteries. And we're going to also do the stock battery and the EA Sheen 260 milliamp battery as well with these two-bladed props to compare the difference. The first video we had 4 minutes and 11 seconds with the stock battery, and we had 4 minutes and 28 seconds with the EA Sheen 260 milliamp battery. So we're going to see what the difference is with these two-bladed props. So I'll be right back with that. There's one more thing I wanted to do before I flew this. We're going to check the difference between the weight of the four-bladed props and the two-bladed props. I got another set of the red ones here. So let's put these on here. And those four-bladed props are showing 1.2 grams. I know you probably can't see that, but it's 1.2 grams. And the two-bladed props, 0.8 grams is what it's showing there. So 0.4 grams off of that. So that should make a little bit of a difference. And considering we put the this battery on here, this larger battery, that was 1.6 gram difference. That would only make it 1.2 gram difference. So we'll see how it performs here in just a minute. Okay, here we go with the flight test and time for the two-bladed props on the Furibee F36. Here's the stock battery, and I am using these same batteries I was using on all the other tests. I'm not swapping batteries out for different batteries. So let's first put this stock battery in here. And we're looking at performance as well as the flight time. So with the four-bladed props, we had 4 minutes and I think it was 11 seconds with the four-bladed props in the stock battery. So now this one is the two-bladed props and a stock battery. So we're going to check performance and we're going to check the time. So I got my timer here. I'm going to start the timer and get this thing in the air. Sounds a little bit louder with these two-bladed props. And as for a punch, let's do a little punch over here. Oh yeah, that punch is a little more beefy there compared to the four-bladed props when I did the punch outs on the four-bladed props before with the unboxing and flight test there. So let's just keep going this flying here. Get a flight time. And by the way, on that punch, I did not have it full throttle because I do not want to smack the ceiling so hard. Even though I know this thing would take it, I just don't want to keep doing it. So now that I'm just going to fly this around and see how long it flies, it does seem a little quicker too. Yeah, it does seem a little quicker as well. Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely a little faster. This is a low rate, and it's definitely... Oh yeah, it performs a little better. It's a little faster with the two-bladed props, and that's due to the less load on the motors. So since we're just going to fly around and see how long this flies with these two-bladed props and the stock battery, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this video from here. Okay, and there is the battery lights flashing. So now it is ready to come in for a landing here. And there we go with the two-bladed props, and we're stopping the timer. And with the four-bladed props, it was 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Now we have 5 minutes and 45 seconds. So that's like a minute and a half longer of battery life with two-bladed props. So that is a big difference. So let's get this thing unplugged here. And we're going to go ahead and let this cool down just a minute, and then I'll be back with the 260 milliamp EA Sheen battery. So be right back. Okay, here we go with the two-bladed props and the EA Sheen 260 milliamp battery. And put that in there. Now on the four-bladed prop test with this 260 milliamp battery, we got 5 minutes and 28 seconds, or 4 minutes and 28 seconds versus the 4 minutes and 11 seconds that we got with the stock battery. Now we got the two-bladed props on here, and with the first test with the two-bladed props, we had the stock battery at 5 minutes and 45 seconds. Now we're going to get this in the air with the 260 milliamp battery. Oops, might help if I start my timer here. Hold on. I'll just drop the quad underneath the table. Okay, let's start the timer. Still got the 5:45 from the last time. Okay, let's get this in the air. Seems that added 1.5 grams on that battery just took away a little bit of the power, but not much. Still quicker than with the four-bladed props stock, with the stock battery. Definitely quicker with the two-bladed props. A little more punch too. Yeah, it definitely has a little more recovery on it too. So let's just get the time on this. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video from here and just fly it around until we get the battery light flashing. And there's the battery light flashing, and we actually got less time, 5:34. So I don't think these EA Sheen 260 milliamp batteries make enough difference to even bother with at this point. With the 4-bladed props, it was only a 20-second difference compared to the stock battery. Now with the 2-bladed props, it's actually getting less time with the EA Sheen battery with the 2-bladed props. So my conclusion is the 260 milliamp batteries probably aren't worth the investment at this point. 2-bladed props modification, we got the bigger battery modification. The stock battery gave me more time than the EA Sheen 260 30C battery. So there's your conclusion on that part. There are going to be a couple more modifications to these things, so keep an eye out for the videos on those, and thanks for watching.